Definitely not the prettiest of games. Former Ute Christian Cox, former Cougar David Nixon here. All right, let's get right to it, guys. Two-point conversion. Right or wrong decision by Kalani Sitake?
Right decision. I love decision. Play call, that's something we've debated back and forth. I think you maybe go with a different play call. I think it's something where maybe you use Taysom's legs, give him a kind of a run-pass read, get out, maybe seal the edge and get him out in the open and do what he did on a touchdown run where he got in the open and was able to make a guy miss and get in the end zone.
Completely agree, right? That's how you went down the field to get this touchdown. But breaking down this play, offensive line had some issues. When you have a running back over here on the left, this should be a lucky call where the entire offensive line will fan left. Morgan Scalley has broken it down. He knows that they're going to go to Taysom Hill. They're bringing 6 guys. You got 5 with a running back, and look how it breaks down. You've got a guy in the backfield quick with P to T. He's left. Andrew Ides left on an island. He's thinking his guard's going to be there. And then you got Cody Barton, who's already in Taysom's face. And what is Taysom going through right here?
Well, first of all, he makes the first guy miss, which is amazing in and of itself. But he just doesn't have enough time to be able to get to the edge. Of course, Utes, defense is able to recover and come and get him. But it's one of those things where at the line of scrimmage, maybe have a check, maybe a call when you see the 6-man. You maybe check out to another play and look to try to get in the end zone some other way. Yeah,
and the defense shows up in the biggest time and gets a win. So let's go over to one of the most controversial plays of the game. And that comes down to Kai Nakua and a big hit he puts on Simpkins.
Man, I love this defensive play by Kai. We saw him earlier in the game with a couple interceptions. He's just a ball hawk. And this is one of those unfortunate plays where the receiver is falling to the ground and the target, the zone area, changes. As a defensive player, as we know, it's tough to know where that receiver's going, right? How is body control, what's going to happen? And you see a close shot here. Kai's leading with his helmet, but he's trying to turn his shoulder at the same time. And this is one of those tough deals where, once again, it's tough to kind of figure out where the receiver is going to be in the next step.
Yeah.
And Kai here, unfortunately, you're going to see he does hit helmet first. There's contact with the helmet. There's no question about that. But I think you go back to the intent. What was his intent? You see him leaning away. I don't see his intent being one of trying to knock out the receiver cold and go helmet to helmet.
Yeah, and it's one I said it shouldn't be ruled as he shouldn't be ejected. It's a play, in my opinion. I think he shouldn't be suspended going to the next game. Maybe a personal foul because the rule is helmet, shoulder, arm, or fist to the head is a penalty. But for him, I think it's ridiculous. But going into the next play, let's talk about this massive play that Francis Bernard makes, and then there's another targeting play at the same time.
Well, that's the thing. Everyone's talking about McChesney, Austin McChesney's targeting call. But Francis Bernard, the one-handed catch, this is once again a guy who was running back just last year, comes over to linebacker, lays out one-handed. But not only that, but he's on a wheel route against one of the fastest guys on Utah's offense, Troy McCormick. He follows him all the way down the sideline, gets the interception.
And this is a targeting play. We saw in the first half BYU coming out strong, and one of these plays that we saw Taysom Hill getting a huge gashing run and a touchdown. Let's talk a little bit more about it.
Against Arizona, he had a couple opportunities to get to the edge. Arizona's defensive line caught him. This is one chance, though, that Taysom had. He's able to beat the defensive end to the edge, and we're going to focus on defensive end. You've got to shuffle down on the line of scrimmage, and you got to take proper angles. And with Taysom in game preparation, you got to know that this kid is a 4.5, 4.4 quarterback. You got to take the right angle. And then what happens here on the back end?
Yeah, you got Marcus Williams, who's your best safety. He's got 2 decisions. He's got to sell out and make the tackle. Instead, he takes a real short-sighted lane there. Doesn't even get a hand on Taysom. He's the safety. He's got to come up with a tackle on that play.
Well, Taysom, this is why Taysom's such a great dual-threat quarterback, because he can hurt you with his arm, but he also can kill you with his legs. And this is one thing that BYU fans saw against Texas. They've seen it against a lot of his opponents in the past. And this year, coming off the foot injury, BYU fans were hoping against Arizona they'd see a glimpse of this, but it wasn't until this week against Utah they finally saw him get in the open field, and that's when he really could use his burst, and he goes in untouched for the end zone.
Yeah, and we saw tons of turnovers in this game, right? We saw a total of 9. We saw 3 interceptions from each quarterback, but we saw a huge throw right before the end of the half. Utah and Troy Williams comes up with throwing a dime. Let's take a closer look at this play.
And I'll tell you what it was. It was an ugly first half for both teams, but Troy Williams, like you said, you look at the clock in the top left corner, 17 seconds left. And you see here, BYU's running a cover 2, and it's a perfect route coverage and concept for the cover 2 to beat it. And you're going to see this nice little post corner to the back of the end zone. And you see cover 2, Diane Lake down at the bottom, provides a cushion. Hanneman's late to get over. And the ball, what I like about this pass from Troy Williams, it's a safe ball. This is one of those balls, a 1st and 10, you can afford to throw it away if it doesn't go well, but you put the ball in an opportunity for your receiver to go get it, and very low chance of getting a turnover.
Yeah, going into half, leading after giving up 4 turnovers, huge change in momentum for Utah. Going into the 4th quarter, right? Utah, 12 minutes to go, has the ball. Let's talk about how Utah had a 10-minute drive. It really solidified that game.
Yeah, 11-13, I think it was. It was a backbreaker for BYU. And you look at the defense, and this is something against Arizona. They gave up some big runs to Nick Wilson. Same thing happened this week. You're going to see here BYU's defense. Morgan Uggles can get up to the field too far up. That's this huge gap between the guard and the tackle. And you're going to see here Francis Bernard, while we just saw the big pick from him, he has great hands, but he's still trying to learn that defensive position at linebacker and how to fill properly. And that's one of the ones where he gets stuck on the wrong side.
And where he's left alone, that DN's got to come down and knock that guard out. Francis Bernard eats it. But seeing a player like Zach Moss come on for Utah fans got to get real excited. A freshman, he's 18, straight from Florida. He's going to be your next Devontae Booker.
All right, guys. And what about Kalani Sitake? He got a lot of street cred by backing up his player, don't you think?
This was one of the highlights of the night right here, where Kalani, after Kai Nakua gets ejected, he goes ballistic. He goes nuts. And for me as a player, and Christian, you can chime in here. You had him as a coach. I mean, you can't get more pumped when you see your coach go after and try to protect his players. I mean, he's truly standing up for his guys, and he gets a penalty. And I think that got the guys fired up because the very next play was Francis Bernard picking it off.
This is what's going to change the rivalry completely in recruiting. Kalani's passion and energy just permeates to players. A lot of guys are going to be wanting to go to BYU, especially if they eventually get into the Big 12.